My name is Sue Giese, and I am with the Historical Timekeepers. We are a civilian corps group, and we go during the summer, we do Civil War reenactments. Today we have the privilege of being in the Tallman House. As many of you know, that was built and completed in the late 1850s. It is beautifully decorated, and a woman of my status, which is a middle upper class lady, would have felt very comfortable in this home. However, today while we're here, we're going to be doing lots of different things. And one of the things I've been talking about are the letters from the soldiers. And I have letters from the soldiers dating just before the firing on Fort Sumter, and they're talking about frolicking and getting drunk and having a wonderful, wonderful time. And then the next letter talks about a gentleman the first Christmas away from the Confederacy, and how he's so very worried about his family and how Santa Claus is going to find them, because there's a rumor that Santa is a Yankee, and if he is a Yankee indeed, he will not find his way through the Confederacy as well. As the Christmases go on until we reach the very end, you see things in the Union's letters that are much more inspiring, that there's hope, where in the Confederacy things become harder and harder to acquire. And so as you go on this journey, you start to see how different things are. I also have a letter that Mrs. Jefferson Davis had written, but she wrote it about 32 years after the Civil War, but she talks about their last Christmas in the mansion down in Richmond, and how though they were looking for gifts to give to their children, they were also very involved with the orphanage, and so they went throughout the town and gathered toys from children of all ages, and whether they were broken or not, they found ways of fixing them and restuffing stuffed dolls, and how they went to the orphanage, and how there was a tree. Someone donated a tree, and a candy maker in the town made candy for the orphanage and for the children as well. And so even though there's a war going on, even as late as that last Christmas in 1864, you're seeing that people are trying their best to help with the children and make sure that the children know about Christmas. So I hope that helps. Thank you.
This holiday tree is decorated with modern glass ornaments, although before the late 1800s, most ornaments were handmade, but in the 1880s, glass ornaments became very popular from Germany. In the 1890s, F.W. Woolworth sold $25 million worth of glass ornaments. Christmas cards became prevalent in the mid-1800s, first in England and then in the United States. In 1875, the first colored Christmas cards were printed and sold in the United States. One of the Christmas songs that came from the Civil War was written by the well-known poet Henry W. Longfellow, and it expressed his discouragement over the events of the war. And it has come to us today, although two of the verses were left out that he had written. And I'd like to sing that song for you. You probably well know it. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, but I will add the verses that are left out in our modern hymnals. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat, of peace on earth, goodwill to men. I thought As the bells had rung, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And from each black accursed mouth the cannon thundered in the south, and with the sound the carols drowned of peace on earth, goodwill to men. It was as if an earthquake rent the heartstones of the continent, and made forlorn the carols born of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men.
Hi, I'm Laura, and I'm a period reenactor with the Historical Timekeepers. I'm also a volunteer at the Tallman House. I'm a docent out here, and one of the things that I specialize in is talking about music during the 19th century and the Civil War, and at this particular time of year, the Christmas caroling. And just explain to people a little bit here that the pagans were the ones that originally started the celebrations during this time of year, and of course that was frowned upon, and they, really, like Britain, for example, they tried to put a stop to the pagan traditions and put laws against actually doing any of their celebrations. However, their attempts to forbade it didn't work very well, so they had to come up with a way to make it a Christian holiday instead. So in order to do that, what they did is they used that as being Christ's birth, and we know that as being December 25th. There is nothing in the Bible that says that Christ was actually officially born on December 25th, but it does make for a nice time of year when things are cold and winter is set. But as what happened is then the Christians took over and started having Christian celebrations and going about caroling. However, caroling started off to be something more like trick-or-treating. The carolers would go from house to house, and if you didn't give them what they wanted, they would come in and help themselves. Oftentimes it would turn to a lot of tragedy because the homeowner might even find himself getting killed. Then they policed that, and eventually caroling became something a little bit more pleasant during this tradition. And they would come in and they would sing carols such as "We Wish You a Merry Christmas." And if you know the verse to the "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" is they're asking for figgy pudding. And if you don't give them figgy pudding, they're not going to go away. And they would not go away. They wouldn't leave. And so you give them the figgy pudding and they'd move on to the next house and carol. And that's how we got the caroling tradition. So it went from a pagan celebration to a Christian holiday, and then the carolers came out. So I'm going to play "We Wish You a Merry Christmas."
I'm Lynn Jacobson. I am a docent here at the Rock County Historical Society and with the Tallman House. I'm also a member of the Historical Timekeepers. And today we're in the Tallman kitchen and we are pretending that we are getting some things, decorations ready. We're making pomander balls, which are oranges that are studded with cloves, and we have treats here for people, cornbread and gingerbread. The Tallman House is open until the end of the year, and we're open 7 days a week. And we have the house over decorated than what the Tallmans normally would have decorated each year, but we do start with a Civil War tree, and we do end up with a tree upstairs that is from the early 1900s. So we do show you the different Christmas trees and the presents and the decorations as they changed through the decades that the Tallmans lived here.
Hi, I'm Jim. I'm with the Historical Timekeepers and I am their tinsmith. I'm demonstrating the different types of ornaments that they have. One of the first unique ones is the single candle, and what it did was it balanced on the tree branch, and it depended all on how you put it on as to how it balanced. And the ball also on the bottom could move up and down to compensate for when the candle burned down. There's also the original tinsel, which was made from the scraps that the tinsmith had, and you could hang it on the tree that way, or you could put it on a ribbon so that it would spin and glimmer and shimmer with the lights that were around. There's also a different type of ornament just from scraps that they had. They would make kind of another different style of a tinsel of sorts. Another popular item to hang on the tree was the cookie cutters, and they would just hang up there, and there was just a whole bunch of different styles and shapes of the cookie cutters. And this ornament's kind of a unique one, and it was filled with candy. It would be hung up on the tree, and it would be full of candy for the kids to have. And throughout the house you'll see other different ornaments and different tree styles also.
I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat, of peace on earth, goodwill to men.